Hi there everyone, welcome back to another weekend episode of Cooking with Mary Sue. And before we begin, please hit that like, subscribe, and share down at the bottom. Down there you'll find links to my other channel, Susie Q Knickknacks, where I showcase items I buy at thrift stores and resell on eBay. There's a link to my eBay channel down there, eBay store on eBay, and there's a link to my husband's channel, Brother Claude Reflects. And once again, I remind everybody about my children's book I had published a few months ago through Christian Faith Publishing House, Miss Kitty and Her Woodland Friends, Awesome Adventures. You can find this on eBay, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and iTunes. They finally got through with the ebook. And if you'd like to see a picture of Miss Kitty, the real Miss Kitty that lives with us, there's a picture of her on my husband's video on Brother Claude Reflects. He was outside one day videotaping and she came along. She loves to help him outside when he does the gardening or anything else. Today, I'm going to do another recipe out of my grandfather's old cookbook. I had a request from one of my viewers the other day to do some more recipes out of this book, and I found a few more I'll be doing in the near future. Today, we're going to do just an all-American comfort food favorite, meatloaf. And I'll venture to say you can find meatloaf recipe in just about any cookbook you open. It's a very, very staple recipe in many families nowadays, and it goes back decades, meatloaf. Now the one in here, it calls for 3 pounds of meat, ground beef or whatever meat you want to use. But I'm going to make a smaller version. I'm just making it for me and my husband. I'm just using 1.5 pounds of ground chuck. That, like I said, that one calls for 3 pounds. It would probably be enough for a big 9 by 13 dish. But I'm going to cook mine in this little meatloaf pan. I've got this special meatloaf pan where the inside, the insert, lifts up, has holes in it for the grease to drain below. That way when it cooks in here, I can just lift the meatloaf up and the grease is down the bottom of the pan. I know at the store sometimes you can buy a dry mix called meatloaf seasoning. I never use that seasoning, mainly because my husband doesn't like it. He prefers it if I use just the regular raw vegetables. I'll add onion and bell pepper, breadcrumbs, an egg to it. So we'll get started. I always like to make meatloaf using plastic gloves. I don't like to get all that meat and stuff under my fingernails, and it's just kind of messy and icky. So I always use gloves when I'm through with this. All I have to do is take my gloves off, throw them away, and I'm done. My hands are nice and clean that way. Okay. If I did make the big meatloaf, the whole 3 pounds, I would just freeze half of it for later. I've done that before in the past, but I just didn't want to do that this time. This will be enough for us for a few days. One reason I like to make meatloaf is I love cold meatloaf sandwiches. Now my husband, he likes meatloaf sandwiches, but he likes to heat them up hot. Make it like a hot hamburger sort of. But I prefer mine cold. With just a little cheese and mustard on it. Okay. To this, I'm going to add the 1 egg. Kind of hard to crack an egg with gloves, sort of. Not that easy. Okay. I'm going to add 1 cup of breadcrumbs. Now I'm using the Italian flavored breadcrumbs. You can use any type. I thought this would just give a little more flavor. If you don't have breadcrumbs on hand, you can use any other type of dry ingredient like oatmeal or cornflakes. Let me see, cracker crumbs. You could crumble up enough for a cup of cracker crumbs, or toast. You can use toast and just make your own breadcrumbs by making toast and crumbling it up. So I'm just using Italian breadcrumbs here. Let me see what else. I need to take these off a minute. I'll take these off so I can put my other ingredients in, then I'll put some new ones on. Okay. I'm going to put a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to put 1/3 cup of ketchup in here. And while it's cooking, I usually put a little ketchup across the top of it while it's cooking. Actually, I'm going to use about half of a 1/3 cup. Because that recipe calls for a 1/3 cup, but that's if you're using 3 pounds. I'm not using 3 pounds. Now, I did cut the breadcrumbs in half because it said 2 cups in that book, and I'm using 1 cup. This is about a half of a whole onion diced up. And now I'm going to add bell pepper. I usually like to sometimes tweak recipes a little bit, kind of make it my own, according to my taste. I like bell pepper in my meatloaf. The book doesn't call for bell pepper, it just calls for onion. But I like bell pepper in there. The breadcrumbs, okay, about a teaspoon of salt and pepper. And see, this is the Italian breadcrumbs I used. Just a Walmart brand. And in a few minutes after I get all this mixed up, I am going to make this even extra little special. I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of cheese sauce in here. Make cheesy meatloaf. Okay. Now I need some more gloves back on. And start mixing all this stuff together. Won't that be fun? I don't have to, but I'm going to spray my pan now with a little bit of butter pan here. Just really for flavor, because that's a non-stick pan. There. My other glove on here. You don't have the easiest things to get on sometimes, especially when you want to get them on. There it goes. Okay. Now we're ready to start mixing. You know what? Oh, there it is. One more thing. Half a cup of milk. I kept thinking something was missing here. I couldn't figure out what. There. Half a cup of milk. Now cut everything in that recipe in half since I'm making half the size of that recipe. This is the fun part of making meatloaf. All the squiddy part. My bell pepper, my onion. This doesn't take too long to mash up. Take some good sized large bowl to mix all this up in. It's been a while since I made a meatloaf. Try to get everything down to the bottom, bring the bottom of it up to the top. I get all the ingredients all through it. The breadcrumbs, the bell pepper, the onion, the egg mix. Just a little bit, a few more seconds here, and I think we'll be done enough. Everything stay in the bowl. Everything's clean here. Once I clean up, I'll clean all this counter off. Wash it off really good. Once again, I'll make sure it's clean before and after I mix this up. You don't want to have your bell pepper and onion in one spot. That's why you gotta mix it all through here. And the breadcrumbs and the milk. This is cooking in the oven on 350 for about at least 30 minutes. Say 30 to 45 minutes. This meatloaf will be good tonight with maybe some mashed potatoes with it and some pinto beans or lima beans, either one. That's his favorite beans. I don't care for lima beans myself too much. Okay, now it's ready to just drop it in the pan. Get everything off my gloves here just about, all the mixture. Gonna slide right in. Sure did. All came out one time. It slid out easy into my pan. I'm going to shape it here. See, that pound and a half was just enough to fill this pan up perfect. Yeah. I'm going to make a little indent right there. And actually, I'm going to put the little bit of cheese right in the center there, right in that indent. Then I'll cover it back up. There. I'm through with that. Then I'm going to put it right down the center here. Just a little bit of this cheese. I'm not touching the meat, I'm just putting down the hole there. Okay. I'm going to kind of cover it back up here. Got that cheese covered up in the center there. There. Okay. One more thing. I'm going to add just a little bit of Parmesan cheese across the top here. Like I said, I always like to squirt just a little bit of ketchup down the center. And flatten that out just a little bit more. There. Now we're all done here. I will put this on another pizza pan to cook it on just in case it goes over with a little grease. I don't think it will though, but it never hurts to protect your oven when you're baking stuff. I'll put it in for about 30 to 44 minutes and we'll see how it comes out in a few seconds. The meatloaf's in the oven cooking for the moment. It'll be about 30 more minutes probably. But meantime, when I do type this up and upload it on YouTube, I will include the original recipe that's in the book here that makes a family-sized meatloaf, and I'll include the way I made it smaller. So you have, either way, you have both choices on there to make it big or little, either way. Be right back in a little bit. Howdy there. Welcome back. We're all done with my magnificent cheesy meatloaf here. Just took it out a few minutes ago. It's very hot. Don't want to touch it yet. I loosened it around the sides here. See if I can pick it up here again. See this? All the juice and grease is drained in the bottom of the pan. This will be able to slice it really nice once it cools down, and it'll get firm and more set once it cools, so I can slice it better. We're going to have this tonight for supper. I think I'll make a big bowl of mashed potatoes with it and some type of beans with it. And he will be so happy with supper. And of course some of my magnificent cornbread with it, which I have some of that in the freezer now. But I did let this cook closer to an hour because I wanted to get nice and crunchy and brown on top. You can see it right there, see? I like it a little bit more than golden brown. I like it a little crunchy, almost burnt looking on the top, but it's not. You can see the cheese in it there, the ketchup. I see all the bell pepper and onion. And it smells fantastic. Well, that's it for this week. We're going to enjoy my yummy meatloaf here. Like I said, I put the recipe that's in the book here for a family size. I cut that in half to make the smaller one right here. If you want to, you can make the big one and just freeze half of it. I might do that next time. But I'll see you next week. I have one more recipe planned in this book. I already picked it out for next week. And I'll be back later. Don't forget about my new book over here. You can find it on Amazon, eBay, Barnes & Noble. Order a copy for your grandkids or your little kids, either one. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.